From the first casting call to the final cut, Sacramento Filmworks is your one-stop shop for all things filmmaking. I'm your host, Klein Moore.
And I'm your co-host, Kenesha Allen. Sit tight and don't move because we've got an exciting show lined up. Today, we're going to delve into what it means to be a casting director.
They call them the gatekeepers because if the casting director doesn't like your work, you will not be an actor.
That's right. But get this, today's guest says he's not looking for actors, he's looking for characters. We'd like to welcome Mr. Charlie Holliday to our show, casting director extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. So Charlie, first off, let's go ahead and define for our audience, what does a casting director do?
The main job of a casting director is to keep the crazy people away from the producer.
Good.
No, seriously, we're a filtering system. We will read sometimes on a single roll, we may read 100, 200 people. The director doesn't need to sit through all of that. Normally what we do is we filter. We get a call from a producer, from a director saying, we're looking for talent. They give us a breakdown of the kind of characters they want. Sometimes they let us just pick them. Okay. Other times they say, no, we want to hold auditions. Sometimes they say, we want you to hold auditions, and then we go through, audition each person for the role, and then we send the tapes or the DVDs nowadays to the producer-director. They'll say, okay, call these people back. Okay. That way they have to deal with maybe 10 people instead of 200 like we deal with.
Right. Excellent. Now, what is the difference between a casting director and a casting agent?
You might have heard the term casting agent. There is no such thing as a casting agent. That would be a defending prosecutor.
Okay.
Okay. Which, by the way, is against the law in California.
Sure.
Casting directors, we are hired by the producer. Our job is to screen talent for their projects. The agent is the employee of the actor. Their job is to help the actor seek work and to negotiate their contracts for them when they get work. Okay.
They're not actually given parts.
No, you can't do it. Is against the law. I mean, licensed agents have a certain set of rules and regs to follow. Okay. One of them is they cannot do casting. They can't sell you pictures. They can't sell you classes. Anytime a person says, I'm an agent, and asks you for money, run and hide, because they are not an agent.
Hide your checkbook, right?
Not an agent, nope.
So how did you get your start?
I was in front of so many casting directors, partly. And eventually when I came up here, I spent a lot of years in LA. When I came up here, I auditioned several times for a company called Media Casting, a guy named Everett Blix. Over the years, we became friends. And one day I decided I wanted to do some casting. So I started kind of helping him out. To make a long story longer, we eventually became partners, and now I do all the work while he plays cowboy.
All right, so from actor to caster.
Actor to caster, actor to teacher to caster.
Okay.
You know, and they're all related. I think I'm a good casting director because I love actors. Okay. Most casting directors really, the casting director is not the adversary. We're on your side. You know, everybody's on your side till you give them a reason not to be.
Now, you've been in the business long enough to work with some of the greatest, so it's shameless name drop. I mean, what are some of the folks that you've got a chance to come in contact with?
I have a great director's credit list. I've worked with Francis Ford Coppola and with William Friedkin and Tom Burton and Ivan Reitman, you know, a lot of big-time directors. You learn from those folks.
And you also work with Dana Howard here. I was on your website
I worked
and found
with Dana.
that out.
Yeah, Dana's a great guy. I worked with him and John Mummins. So we call those people in occasionally for auditions.
Right.
And they don't always get the job, by the way. Because sometimes they're really good announcers, they're really good newscasters, but they're not particularly, they don't really know how to audition. It's all about the audition. The best actor doesn't always get the job. You know, the best auditioner often gets the job.
And you know,
and that's a separate skill.
And you say that you're actually looking for characters.
Right. When a breakdown comes out for a particular role, I'm not really looking for an actor. And I'm waiting for somebody that can bring that character to me. And it's all about the character, the character, the character. The only really wrong thing an actor can do is to break character.
True.
If you stay in character, it'll take care of you. The script will take care of you. If you're doing a play and you go up on your line, someone will throw themselves on the grenade. That's because actors do that for each other. Like I said, I love actors. Actors are large children. They want to make you happy. They want you to love them. They'll do anything to do that. Try to get your accountant to set fire to himself and jump off a building.
Right.
Actor do that multiple takes. Oh, you need another one? Let me
One more time. Let's do it again.
We'll do that.
I wasn't happy with that one. Well, let's actually get into the meat of what you do. And the big part of this episode is going to be devoted to the part of casting that normally an actor would never get to hear, which is feedback. They just wouldn't get the call back. So we want to hear and see what the internal thought process is of an expert casting director. And so
I'll open this up.
we're going to appreciate that.
Okay.
But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick little break and throw up some information about the Northern California Filmmakers Coalition. So, you may not be an actor, you may be a director or a makeup artist or whatever, and our organization will be able to help you with that. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break.
Sacramento Filmworks is sponsored by the Northern California Filmmakers Coalition, which provides filmmakers an opportunity to learn and network with professionals in the filmmaking industry in the Sacramento region. Join us each Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Access Sacramento, 4623 T Street, Suite A. We'll see you in the movies. And we're back with our guest, casting director Charlie Holliday, and he's given us an insight on the casting process.
So Charlie, tell us, how do we start? Where do we start?
Well, it usually starts with a phone call from your agent if you have one, from the casting director if you don't. You don't need to have an agent to be called in for an audition. If you have one, fine. If you don't, that we don't really care one way or the other. We will email the sides, the pages of a script are called sides. Normally there's 1 or 2 pages, even if it's a huge role. We don't need you to do the whole script. You don't generally see a whole script unless you go into the casting office or to the production office. There the rule of the Union with Screen Actors Guild rules are that you need to be able to see a full script 24 hours in advance. Doesn't always happen. Normally you're going to get your 2 pages, which we're going to email to you. You go through, make some decisions. You come into the office. You're called into the little room. There's a mark on the floor. You head for the mark. Then first thing you have to do is to slate. The normal slate for a movie is your name, your height, and the role you're reading for. Okay? So I'm Charlie Holliday. I'm 5'8" on an optimistic day, and I'm reading for cop number 1. Okay? That's the typical kind of a slate. Okay? So let me hear you do that.
Hello, my name is Tabitha Pagani. I'm 5'6", and I'm reading for Jill.
Great. I like the fact that you said hello, that you greeted me. So many people come in and say, Charlie Holliday, 5'8", cop. The slate is very important. We watch these on fast forward sometimes because we have lots of people. If we don't like your slate, we hit the button. So it's very, very important. Next thing, if you want to be a really good auditioner, the next thing you should say is there anything that I should know that's not obvious on the page here? Okay. Because you can't tell much from the 2 pages. The reason you ask the question that way is that gives me a chance to say, no, it's pretty much as written, or let me see what you can do with it, or to say, this is a couple that's going through a bankruptcy, which is pretty obvious in the text here. And they're, at loggerheads. They've been out for an evening, they've had dinner. It's been a very quiet dinner, because Dan has clammed up. He doesn't want to talk about it. So we come home, and that's where the scene really starts. Okay? So let's go ahead.
Honey, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about our options.
What options? We have $240,000 in worthless inventory. We have over $130,000 due to us that we'll never see. We owe $180,000 in bills by the end of the month. Now, unless you have a couple of $100,000 that I don't know about, we don't have any options to talk about.
I'm on your side, remember?
I'm sorry. I honestly just don't see any other way.
Then bankruptcy?
Yes.
How about we call your dad?
Never.
They already know.
Did you?
Your mom called. They read the newspaper too. Honey, I'm not sure what the answer is, but I just know that bankruptcy isn't it. Listen, if we file bankruptcy, we'll be doing the very same thing that our suppliers and their families, that Ronak has done to us. We just can't do that.
You think I want to?
No.
What else can we do?
We could sell the house. It wouldn't solve everything, but it would be enough to pay off our debts, and we could start over again.
But Jill, I mean, we worked so hard to get this place, and you worked for years so we could pay it off. I mean, honey, you love this house.
But I love you more.
Oh, everybody goes, oh.
There you go. Good
That
job.
was wonderful. I felt like I was sitting in a movie,
No,
movie studio.
you actually did a very, very good job. One of the things that you did is you made really good eye contact with me. Very often at an audition, all we see is people's eyelids and the top of their heads as they stand and read. I don't want a reader. It is not about getting every word in the script right. It's what we call a cold read. If you paraphrase a little, you change a word here and there, it's okay. As long, I'm looking, first of all, do you have the right look? Okay, that's a very big part, especially in television, it's a big part. If I'm going to cast a person as a doctor, I need, when the person walks out in a white coat with a stethoscope hanging around their neck, I need the audience to say, oh, that's a doctor. Right. I mean, there are only so many Doogie Housers out there, you know. So I've got to believe that, you know, that you have the right look for it. You get and don't get roles for lots and lots of reasons other than your acting ability. You have to learn to deal with that.
Let me back up real quick. Now, you
Sure.
said you like the eye contact.
Yep.
So is it okay to look at a line, kind of know what it is, then should you look up to deliver it?
That's exactly the way to do it. If you're an actor, you should practice that 30 minutes every day. I think the single biggest mistake that people make when they come to audition is reading along with the reader instead of just listening to the reader. Because like right now, you're listening to me. I can tell because you're shaking your head. Nowhere in the script does it say she shakes her head.
Right.
But she's actually truly listening to me, so she's responding to what I say. Her eyes change, her face changes. I don't see that if you're reading along with me, waiting for your turn to talk. And that's what so many actors do. So biggest hint I can give you is, and you did a very good job of looking at me while I was talking.
What
So
else
does that
did you
go
like?
back to saying that you are looking for a character instead of someone who's just acting, right?
That's it. You'll bring me the character of a wife who's trying to work out a problem with her husband's kind of a hard head. Not that many husbands are, but you know, and you love the guy. You need to create a little history for yourselves. You know, it's nice to what we call a backstory. You know, how long have you been married? You need to know all of that. There's a big difference if you had gotten married a year ago than if we've been married for 10 or 15 years. There's a big difference. Mm-hmm. So, you know, again, it's all about creating the character. Who am I? What do I want? What's in my way? What are my tactics? You know, what am I going to use? Like, what do you want from me in this scene? What do you think?
Well, I want you to make a decision about how we're going to pay off this debt.
Terrific. What are some of the things you can do to make me? What's the obstacle here?
Well, the obstacle is $24,000 in debt.
We got a big debt now. I don't want to borrow any money from my father. I'm a grown man. I don't do that.
And by the way, that's $240,000.
Yes.
That's a big
Yes.
problem.
Yeah, very big problem. Yep. Yeah. So, and then now, what are some of the tactics that you can use to get what you want? When you want something, what is one of the things that you do?
Sympathize, you
Sympathize.
know, I want you to know that I understand what you're feeling and that I'm on your side.
Okay. You know, but we do all kinds of things. To get what we want. We beg, we threaten, we cajole, we joke, we bargain, we seduce, all kinds of things. So when you go in, decide, okay, this is how I'm going to get that. Now, if you're doing that and it's working, how do you feel?
Feel good.
If you're doing that and it's not working, how do you feel?
Unhappy.
Which do you prefer?
To feel good.
Okay, so if it's doing it and it's not working, you don't like feeling bad, so what do?
You change your
You
tactic.
try something else. There you go, favorite definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Okay. Okay, very good, you're very good.
So what else did you like? And then give us something that, again, a normal actor wouldn't hear because they never get this inside feedback from a casting director.
Sometimes, for example, you wouldn't wear that necklace. It's beautiful, but it's also a distraction. You don't want to wear dangly earrings. Thank you for taking yours off.
Only for you.
Just kidding. No, you don't want to wear things that will distract. The audition is really about your eyes. Okay, and the number one thing is I got to see if I don't see your eyes, I can't tell what you're thinking. You need to also create a space. Internally, you need to know where you are. Are you standing on board a ship? Are you in an airplane? Are you in your own home? Are you in a crowded street or whatever? So you have to change that according to your environment is one of the things that changes. But overall, you did a very good job.
Thank you.
I would maybe give you a call back if I, well, never mind.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what.
So Charlie, how much of your talent do you pull from Sacramento?
It depends on the project. Most of it really from here, from Northern California. We love to use local people as much as possible.
Okay.
We go to San Francisco for certain things. We'll go to LA for certain things. But as much as possible, we want to do local talent.
Okay, yeah, right. All right, so we got Klein over there. We're ready to give it a shot, Klein?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, now this time I get to be Jill.
Okay.
One of the things you have to get used to as an actor is that you're reading with a reader. I've read with beautiful ladies who are playing ugly old men, on the other side, and vice versa. Ugly old men who are my sweetheart, and you have to put that out of your mind and just project that you're reading with the other character.
Absolutely.
So that's the first piece of advice. And let's get a slate from you, please.
Excellent. Well, good morning. I'm Klein Moore, and I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm reading the part of Dan.
Okay. Height is important. There's a reason that we do that. For example, Chevy Chase and Sally Field are great friends. You've never seen them in a movie together because she is about 5 feet tall and he is about 6'5".
Right.
Okay, and it's very hard to shoot like that. So height really does matter sometimes.
Good.
Like Don Johnson didn't want anybody in the cast taller than he was. Okay, so let's, are you ready?
Is there anything I need to know about the script?
This man burns. Actually, it's pretty much as written. You're trying to hang on to your house, and you don't know how you're going to do that, so you're going to throw in the towel.
I got a little bit of experience in this one. Here we go.
Okay, you ready?
Absolutely.
Stand by, okay. Honey, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about all our options.
What options? Jill, we have over $240,000 in worthless inventory. We have $130,000 due to us that we'll never see, and we owe $180,000 in bills by the end of the month. Now, unless you have a couple of $100,000 that I don't know about, we don't have any options to talk about.
I'm on your side, remember?
I'm sorry. I just honestly don't see any other way.
Then bankruptcy?
Yes.
How about if you call your dad?
Never.
They already know.
What? Did you?
Your mom called. They read the paper too. Honey, I'm not sure what the answer is, but I know that bankruptcy isn't it. Listen, if we file bankruptcy, we'll be doing the very same thing to our suppliers and their families that Ronick has done to us. We just can't do that.
Do you think I want to?
No.
What else can we do?
We could sell a house. I wouldn't solve everything, but it would be enough to pay off our debts, and then we'd just have to start over again.
But Jill, we worked so hard to get to this place, and you worked for years so we could pay it off. And all you done, honey, you love this house.
I love you more.
I love you back. I'll do anything.
Very, very
All
good
right,
job.
there you
So, Charlie, give it to him straight.
I'm going to
no
give it
holds
to you
barred.
straight. Okay, normally in an audition, at least when I'm doing it, I'm going to shoot you from about here up. Okay? So you have to learn to size your performance. You know, it's totally okay to ask the casting director, what's my shot? Because if I've got a big wide shot, I can do anything I want to with my hands. I can, you know, it's like being in a theater. You have to talk to that little old lady up in the God seats. You know, the one that her hearing aid battery is dying.
Sure.
Should have changed her glasses 6 months ago because she can't see. She can't. So you have to talk for her. If you do that in front of the camera, you look like a clown. So what you have to do is, as the shot gets tighter, you have to take all that energy and not lose it.
Sure.
But you start to compress it. And you just squeeze it into a smaller and smaller box until we get you down. We've got that Warner Brothers haircut, they call it, right here. It's all in your eyes and in the intensity of your voice, not in your volume.
Sure.
One of the big mistakes that actors make up here, because there's a lot of wonderful actors. I mean, this is a great theater town. I never saw a theater in LA any better than what we have here.
Right, right.
But you have so many theater actors, and they're used to the big voice and projecting and trying to fill the room. We have a microphone that can hear your eyes blink. You know, I can get the pupil of your eye. I can get a pimple, a pore in that.
We're going to pick your brain a little bit more. Coming up, we got a Q&A portion where our audience members get to ask you questions.
Oh, that's
so
the fun part.
Everybody sit tight. Welcome back to Sacramento Filmworks. I'm Kenesha Allen, and I am in our studio audience. One of our guests has a question for Mr. Charlie Holliday. Why don't you go ahead and stand up?
Hi, I'm Ibukun Hamvalu, Sac State film student, and I was wondering, how does one become a casting director?
The best thing to do is to try to intern for somebody. You know, go in and volunteer. We always have people at the desk, you know, they're signing people in. I always have somebody that to run a camera. I like to have a reader in there. So there's always 3 or 4, you know, little jobs that are available. Sometimes we do like an open call somewhere, and we'll have several people, you know, that sign people in. And so get a chance to work with a casting director, especially if you're an actor, do that, because you get to be in the room. You get to see everybody audition. It's a great education.
I was also wondering, like you said, go and intern. Would I look it up online or the Yellow Pages?
Yeah, just, you know, we're very easy to find by email, and that's the way everything's done nowadays. Almost all submissions are done online. But just send an email saying, hey, I'm available if you need, you know, say I'm a film student, and we love to use people that are becoming, you know, going into the industry. So, you know, and we get your information, and we'll look up one day and say, well, we got to have somebody help us tomorrow. We give you a call.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Now, speaking of being easy to find, you do classes. You
Well,
are
you
out
found me
there.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us some information. If someone wanted to contact you.
Really easy. My website is charlieactor.com. How simple can it get? And I have a list of my classes there. Also, there's a column on there that's called From Charlie's Desk. Lots and lots of information. YouTube me, Charlie Actor, Charlie Holliday. I've got several different things up there, you know, just advice for actors and all that. So I'm really easy to find.
Okay, and you're also still as a casting director over at Media Casting.
Media Casting Group. You also go to MediaCastingGroup.com. We have like listings there of projects that we're working on. You also can register with us, and for example, like we use 50, 100 people when we do The Mentalist comes up here. That's one of the shows that we cast. We can do the principals, and we always need a lot of background, a lot of extras. So if you're registered with us, the first place we always look for talent is the website.
Excellent.
Second place we look is my students, because I know your work.
Awesome. Now, from an acting standpoint, would you suggest that actors get a website like you have the charlieactor.com?
Yeah, it's a marketing business. It really is. Most actors fail because they think they're artists. And it's not called show art. It's called show business.
Right.
You have to treat it like a business. You have to have a presence. You have to market. That's why I'm here.
There we go.
You found me out again.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Charlie, thank you so much for coming to our show. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you. And up next, we are going to show you who's shining in our Sacramento spotlight.
If you'd like to be a member of our studio audience, to meet and greet film industry professionals, visit our website at ncfc.tv.
Welcome to the Spotlight segment of our show where we highlight local talent. And today's local talent is a filmmaker, Mike Blakesley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Good, we're glad to have you. Now we're just going to jump right into it. You have just finished up a trailer for the movie Exile, right?
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Promotional trailer for the, it's a trilogy based on the book of Daniel. And it's based on the times that you read about in the Bible, but I've done some extensive research to help flesh out the story and connect those individual accounts. So and it really captures the harshness of the times, and it is not a quaint Sunday school story, but it's very, I would say, entertaining and educational at the same time.
Okay, so we're just going to jump right into it and go ahead and take a look at the trailer.
Okay, great.
You do not wish to cheat us, do you?
Because your patron has no compassion for the poor, I will soon hear the cries of hungry children.
We may not live that long, Daniel. Word has just arrived. Nebuchadnezzar has ended his campaign and will be here in 20 days.
So, Mike, some very interesting stuff there. Now, watching it, I kind of see that it looks a little bit like the Bible produced by the History Channel. Can we make the connection or no?
It goes a lot deeper. I appreciate the fact that they gave 45 minutes to the book of Daniel, but it's a lot of information to try to cram into such a short segment. Okay. And I've spent 20 some odd years studying the subject, so I'm a little biased in, my opinions, historical fact.
Right.
And I think they had an issue with the prophecy, but like I said, I give them credit for doing it.
So is that the reason why your particular project is been broken down into 3 different segments, so you can kind of cover everything?
Yeah. Well, it's based on the book by the same name, and it's very difficult to go from book to screenplay.
Right.
And it's limited, but I could never cram it into one movie. And so I finally figured out where to make the break between movie 1 and 2 and went with it. And I really like the way it came out, so I can show it the way I think it should be shown.
Okay, for coming to the show. We really appreciate it and are excited to see the final product of The Exile. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you very much.
And that wraps up our show for tonight. Sacramento Filmworks is brought to you in partnership with the Northern California Filmmakers Coalition and also with Access Sacramento. We'd like to thank our studio audience, our wonderful guests, and those of you watching at home. I'm your host, Klein Moore.
And I'm your co-host, Kenesha Allen. And you've been watching Sacramento Filmworks, where we show you how film works.